Alright, okay, class is back in session, and today I went some Googling around, I did some research about what you guys had for questions online, and naturally I went on Google Trends and asked, well, what are people talking about with programming? And this is what it showed. Really? Fucking really? What is a variable? Oh, why do I even bother? Why do I bother with this shit? Right, okay, 2 seconds. I'm gonna get the whiteboard. So the best analogy I was ever given about variables is a box, right? A box can hold stuff in it. Look at it. It can hold all kinds of stuff, and it's got a limited amount of space to it. First thing we can do about this box is we can give it a name. We're gonna give this box the name age, and it's gonna hold my age in it, okay? Boom, right? So this is a variable and it's called age, and this is what we call a declaration. We're declaring a new variable, a new box, and we're giving it a name age. And you really can't see that. It doesn't matter, right? So this box is called age. And then we can also do something else with the box as well. We can assign a value to it. My age is 21, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a value, 21, there we go, boom. See this box over here? We're gonna shove this value into the box. We've created a variable, it's got called age, and now it's got the value 21 inside it. And that's all a variable is, right? So why is the analogy of the box so important here? And I've got 2 boxes over here. Well, because it kind of in a high, very abstract, humanly way, fuck knows, right, explains what's going on with a variable. In your computer, you only have a limited amount of space in your computer to store data and information. You have to say how much memory do you want to store away? And this is the same as a box. How big a box do you want to store, right? And this is what we call data type, and we'll get onto this in a second. And you can have different types of boxes. You can store whatever you want within the boxes, and you can name them whatever you want. Not all the time, but you can give them kind of different names. So another wee example is that we're going to zoom right back into the whiteboard. And here is rule number 1 with variables. Give your variables full English worded names. So many times I've been online and seen other people's codes, and they've just been given random names to variables, and it's just unreadable, right? Just doesn't make any sense. Just as a good practice, if you're a beginner and you don't really know what you're doing, just describe the variable as it is. Not too long, not too short, just as it is, right? What is the variable trying to store? What information are you trying to store? This box here has got my age in it, and it's called age. It's simple, it describes perfectly what I want to store in it. Now for the second thing about variables. Variable types. Booleans, characters, integers, and floats. Okay, so in some languages you have what were called data types, okay? Bringing back the box example, this box can only store certain types of data in it, okay? So this box can only store, in this case, integers. Value 21 in here. I'm going to make a completely different video about what the primitive types are, what kind of boxes you can create with variables, but all you need to understand is that you can allocate different or make different boxes to store different types of things inside them, and your computer is very strict about what type of data you can store in it. We'll cover the basics here really quickly. So booleans are just, you can only store 2 things inside it, true and false. Integers are all your counting numbers, right? Any number can be positive or negative numbers, but only numbers that count like with your fingers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, negative 25, negative 30, negative 100, right? And again, you can only store a certain range of numbers within your integer, right? There's a limited number of bits that you can store. You can make them smaller or bigger, and these are all to do with efficiency purposes. Third is characters. Characters store anything you see in your keyboard, like your F, your A, your B, your C, like all this kind of stuff, right? This box only stores one individual character in the box, so like F. If I wanted to store the character F, there it is, and then I made this box hold the type character, then I can shove F in here. And obviously I need to give it a name. So this would be, I don't know, my initial, right? F. There you go, F for Fab. And then finally there's floating point numbers. And floating point numbers, okay, do you remember back in science class when you did like the speed of light, 3 times 10 to the power of 8, all this kind of scientific notation? That is essentially what a floating point number is. If you don't know about that kind of stuff from science class, don't worry. Picture it like fractional numbers, like 1 point something. So 1.5, 1.10, 1.233467 or something like that, right? That's what a floating point number is. It's just 1.2, 1.5. It can store 3 in it, but it'll store it as in like 2.99999, I think, or 3.0. It should be like 3.0, okay? But for the time being, just think of them fractional numbers. Again, there's some underlying mechanics about how these numbers are stored that is kind of dangerous to think of them as fractional numbers, and you should think of them as floating point numbers, which are a different system entirely. It's relying on the IEEE standard, and the IEEE standard dictates how these numbers are stored. Again, I'll make a separate goddamn video about this stuff, man. All you're concerned about is these. You can put stuff in them, you give them a name, and have different types of boxes, okay? And because I can't be bothered zooming in, for the third rule is global and local scope. So with variables, you know what, we're not even going to cover this. We'll make a separate video about local and global scope. If you don't know what variable is, then it's a bit much for the time being. All you really need to know is that you can store values inside the box, give the box a name, and you can store different things inside it. And finally, again, I would zoom in, but I'm too fucking lazy right now, and I've already moved the camera like 1,000 times. The fourth one is mutability. So what exactly is mutability? Mutability is, I've got our age box here, our age variable that can only store integers. The box here is a type integer, and we've got age associated with it, right? Its name's age. Here is the value 21, and if this is a mutable variable, I can put 21 in here, okay? Hey, I'm 21. But if I want to relive my glory years back when I was like 18 years old, with a mutable variable, I can take our age variable, which is here, and I'm covering it up. This is a brilliant example. Take the 21, throw it to hell, and take our new value, which is going to be 18. 18, right? And then shove it in here. So now our age variable now has the value 18, right? Back to 21, okay? With an immutable variable, once we assign 21 to this cannot change. And in other words, this is called a constant. As soon as we assign a value to a constant, the computer will never allow this value to be changed. All right, so that's variables in a nutshell. The last thing I want to mention is that some programming languages are typeless. In some programming languages, you don't need to even specify what kind of box you're creating. All you need to say to the computer is, hey, I want to create a box. You give it the data, and then the program will infer what kind of type you want. What does this mean? What does the word infer? Basically means it'll do some, voodoo magic to figure out what type is best suited for the data you've supplied. Again, there's some debates online about computer scientists and being like, oh, that costs too much energy, it's inefficient. And yes, it is inefficient because it's extra processing power for your computer to figure that out. So languages like Python are typeless. You don't need to specify what type of box. You just say, computer, give me a box, and it's like, right, sweet, I'll give you the box. So like in C, C++, Java, I think not JavaScript. JavaScript's typeless as well. But Java, C, C++, all these other types of languages, the most popular languages, you have to specify a type. And this is for efficiency reasons. And it also gives you a bit more control. You can say whether you want a boolean, an integer, or character, or floating point number, okay? And that's what the computer will give you, right? It's very verbose. It's asking you, tell me exactly what you want. Whereas Python's like, I don't give a shit, bro. Just, here you go, there's a box. I'll do all the work for you. And that's probably why Python's so goddamn popular. In my opinion, it's not a great language to start off with, but it's really easy to get stuff done in, right? But that's another video. I'll make a video about that soon. Yeah, that's everything I want to talk about. Variables, boxes. Class is over. Make some money with your newfound knowledge and buy some Bitcoin. All right, sweet. I'll catch you guys later.